looking at everybody, I'm like, well, it seems like a lot of people here want to want a better life. Sometimes it's health. A lot of times it's money things, um, and it's just this inner peace. But it seems like people want it through what could be called spiritual realms or mystical ways, or the word matrix energetics comes up, or there's that instant miracle thing that Christian Michelson talks about. I get these emails about like, well, how do you do instant miracle, or how do you do matrix energetics, or some people have taken some of those classes, some of them haven't. But it's like, it seems like our people are people that want a better life, want to make things happen, like to do things in the world and have a passion for something. And there's some kind of knowingness that there's like an inner part of this whole game. There's like this stuff, we're the people that read the stuff like the Eckhart Tolle and the matrix energetics and are intrigued and know that there's something about the spiritual way or this quantum physics ideas of infinite potential in the vacuum. It seems like that's what most of us are. So I'd love to hear what you guys think and want, and see how to do that. Let's see. And yeah, and we have people from all over the world. So let's see. We just look at the chat. Yeah, I got you, Kajal. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so definitely let me know. Email me, and also put in the chat. You can send it even just directly to me in the chat, so it doesn't have to go to everybody. Or I really want to know what you guys want. And what I'm going to start with today is just a little description of some of the parts, like matrix energetics and instant miracle techniques. I got some emails recently about that, and it seems to be how people find me. So I'll start with instant miracle, because that was one that came up. Somebody said, how do you do instant miracle? And is it in the portal, like specifically about how to do this thing? And so instant miracle is something from a guy named Christian Michelson. He's a business coach, and but he's always been interested in self-help stuff. And he studied a lot with David R. What's his name? David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD, the guy that passed away in 2012. Wrote the book Letting Go, which is a great book, and the technique in that book is the peace process, and he calls it letting go process, and so he had this way of talking about this way of what Eckhart Tolle talks about, what David R. Hawkins talking about, Michael A. Singer, Christian Michelson used that thing to clear inner blocks to help his clients, and then it helped him make more money, and along the way, for some reason, he started yawning and sometimes just taking a real big breath. And he noticed that his clients were getting an improvement. Like he would yawn, and then somebody's pain would go away, or he would yawn or take a big breath, and then their fear around public speaking would go away. So he started noticing this pattern, and he talked about having guides. So it was like, I don't know what that means exactly to him, but he talked to some sort of guide, some sort of spirit guides or something, God, and he said, can I use this to help people with their healing of stuff? And he got a yes, so he started doing it. And so then people want to know, how do you do this thing? So he started having these classes where, and I took one of his ones online where he did this, where he just he would have somebody come up and tell their problems, usually business related, because he's a business coach, sometimes physical pain and stuff, and he would then have them do the peace process, which is what we do every day in this group. Clear this inner stuff. It's really empowering because it gives you the tools to go clear this inner stuff. And while they were doing that, every once in a while he would just have a big breath, and then they would feel different about public speaking, about selling stuff, about physical pains would go away, and that was the whole class, just him bringing people up and doing this thing. And then he started teaching it as like, here's how you do it. And so he had these 4-day classes. He has another one coming up right now. And Ilya, he did email me back about the email I sent. So he emailed me back. Yeah, I can tell you guys about that later. And so people would there'd be a microphone after they would he would bring people up and do this thing and tell about how this kind of came to be. And people would ask, like, well, how do you do it? And he would just tell them flat out, I don't know how I do it. I don't know how to teach it. I don't know anything like that. But just hang out and you'll be doing it by the end of the 4 days. And sure enough, we were. And so and he would say, well, I bestow this ability to do this on you. It's like, what a grandiose way to talk, right? Like, I bestow this thing on you, this blessing. Like, sounds cool. I'll take it. But that's how it went. And when so people would say, how do you do it? He didn't know how to do it. He didn't know how to teach it. He didn't know what it meant. He didn't know what the big breath was all about. And I was, so what I did was, and I'll talk about matrix energetics in a minute, and then we'll get right to healing. What I did was, I'm a matrix energetics practitioner, among many other things, and so I thought, well, I can make up my own rules, and yeah, so I thought, well, I just kind of came to me that, well, every breath is an instant miracle. It literally is an instant. It's a miracle that we take a breath and it just keeps on going. And so I thought, so I put a rule set in that, and I'll tell you how to do this with a matrix energetics way. I put a rule set in that whenever anyone interacts with me, they have this thing that comes through them and it shows up for them, and they have their presence heals. So I put that in place, and I'll tell you how I did that with matrix. And so so then I started noticing my clients were starting to take big breaths and yawning, and I'm like, oh my God, it worked. So I just got the data, and I started testing it. It's like, yeah, people would be healed, stuff would be different doing this supposed thing. And my thinking is, I don't know the real reason, but my thinking is maybe the breath isn't really causing anything. Maybe the yawn doesn't cause a thing. Maybe it's a side effect. So it's like, the idea, like, if you eat really good food, someone prepares really good food, a chef makes really, really good food, and then you eat it, and then you start burping, and you also feel satisfied and content. People might have whole classes about, okay, to be satisfied and content, we have to burp. And so we're going to have all these classes on how to burp. And there's going to be level 1 burping, level 2 burping, level 3 burping. And there's this instant burping technique that heals people. And you got to learn how to burp. It might be that, or it might be that it's just a side effect. So who knows what it is? But so what we have as a rule set is that it's already there for us, and we can use it, and you can play with it as you like. So try it if you want. Now, the way that I installed this whole thing is a matrix energetics principle. So Richard Bartlett had this one book, Matrix Energetics. It was the only book he had out when I first took Matrix Energetics, and I read it, and I believed him, and I thought, yeah, these crazy stories are true. I know this is true. In fact, I have my friend, colleague, teacher who would come and work in our clinic in San Diego every 3 months, Kim Burnham, PhD in integrative medicine, and one of my other teachers, and she just had these miracles that were happening while she came into work with us doing matrix energetics, but she was also doing integrative manual therapy, and I was like, how do you do that? When am I going to get to do that? And she said, Ralph, you already do, you just don't know it yet. And she said, just take matrix energetics because it's mind-blowing fun. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take it. And sure enough, 1 5-day class, and my life changed forever. And I was like, oh my God, it really is true. What these spiritual teachers say, and Jesus says, and what the quantum physics and the self-help teach, the secret, and what the bleep, and all these things about mystical ways of manifesting and instant healings and stuff, it's really true. Like before that, it was just like, I believed it, I thought it, but man, it didn't really work. It was like, I had to do a lot of work with integrative manual therapy to get people to heal. And I still do those processes. But after Matrix, I saw, oh my God, things can happen in an instant. And so I just kept going back because it was mind-blowing fun. I didn't have to learn anything else. And Richard Bartlett, I don't know exactly how he said it, but he would talk in these kind of ideas, especially in the beginning days of matrix energetics. He says, I had somebody that took matrix many years before I did, and she goes, I don't know what they taught. They just laughed all the time. People were falling down. I don't know if I learned anything. I had no idea. And so then, but then some people came into Richard's world, Mark Dunn, Melissa Joy, his daughter, Reggie Shealy, and they figured out a way to teach matrix. And basically all they did was they had some ideas around the spiritual realms and the quantum physics realms to give people these stories of why this possibly works, and kind of like how to sort of do it. And but it wasn't about doing anything. It was just about being in that space. So we had, you can imagine 200, 300, 500 people in this certain space that were just like, we looked forward to it. It was fun. It was mind-blowing fun. It was like insane. We felt like little kids. We felt like little 5-year-olds that back when anything was possible. And so Richard just modeled that. And he used to go before the classes, they would go sage the room, and afterwards sage the room and clear evil spirits and all these things that can hurt them, and working on the space and conditioning the space. And then he realized if they just crank up the 60s rock and roll music and just goof around and dance around, and then let everybody in the room and do some more goofing around, dancing and just playing, it worked way better than smudging the room and looking for evil spirits, and just like just be out of control, so freaking happy and play. And that was the magic. So, and then people, when I first took Matrix, he they were talking about, I don't remember what they said the first morning, but it was like, I think it was like talking about some science and some stuff, and they did a few demos, and then after lunch they said, okay, go practice. And I'm like, practice what? You didn't tell us anything. And you're just like, go practice. And so that my experience was, there was Jen, my wife, and Kim Burnham, like, who had told me to go take it because it's mind-blowing fun, standing behind my wife, and all these people around in the Hotel Del in Coronado in San Diego. And I thought, well, he said put a hand on some place, find another spot, and then just let go and just go to pure joy. And that's what I did. And I just went and felt like I was on vacation in Vancouver. And Jen fell down, and I'm like, no way. And Jen was like, way. And I looked around, and some people were falling, and some people were laughing, and other people were looking confused, and some people were looking upset. And I'm like, what was that? And so the rest of the 5 days was just versions of hearing stories, watching people have different experiences, some that didn't seem like much of anything happened, and then just going and practicing on people. And the basic idea is just to get out of the way and just be totally like a kid. Like Jesus said, to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be as a child. And what do kids do? But they play for real. They don't play to like work at something or try to get something. They're just out of control, insane. And so that's the secret. And when in that space, then you can do stuff. So I'll tell one more story, and we'll get into like just doing stuff that can help people, because we have a way. Next step. So years later, we had, all the troubles I had, and then I got my running back. And I'm in Bellingham, and a teacher was in my running group that I was running in, and she said there's a science fair at her school, and can I come talk about how I use science in my work. So there's going to be thousands of people, and there was all these people from around the community businesses that were talking about how science is used in their work. And so I thought, well, what am I going to do? I can't work on somebody, especially kids, without their parents' consent. I can't really be touching people. What do I do? So I thought, well, I'll talk about quantum physics. So I wrote a letter that's talked about the principles of quantum physics and matrix energetics, and I encoded it. And the way I encoded it was I just made it up, and I said, okay, whenever anybody reads this letter, they're going to have a massive healing that's going to be unmistakable, and they're going to know it. And I put a little asterisk sign. So some of you will see I put a little asterisk sign by things. And I said, whenever they read this, this is going to happen. So I put my little letter there, and people would come around, kids would come around, and I say, okay, well, test your neck, test your shoulders. I already knew it was going to work. And then I said, okay, read this thing, and I had a few copies of it. And then after they were done reading it, I would say, retest yourself. And they would be like, oh my God, what just happened? I'm all looser. Oh my God, that's different. Oh, I'm walking way different. So then they were telling all their friends, and my table was just full of all these people coming and telling me what was going on in their bodies, and then reading a little letter, and then having these big changes. And so the way I did the instant miracle thing to say, well, every breath is an instant miracle. That just came to me. And then I just literally in this matrix state, which is like a little kid, out of control, happy. I got a really good job. My job is to be really, really happy. And so in that state, you can make up your own rules. Like the yogi said, the rules are more like suggestions. It's like the quantum physics Nobel Prize this last year. Every dot of the universe isn't really real. It's more like infinite possibilities. So it's like, that's nice to think. It's nice to try to hope that works. But Matrix is like, well, it actually does work. And so, and the key is to play like a little kid. So this is the secret. And so yeah, you can make up your own rule. So in fact, let's do this right now together. Just if you were to let's do it the way let's do it like this. Um, let's do it for the result. If some of this stuff really worked, if it actually worked, what would you like? Okay. And so now with this group, like one of my rule sets that I made was that whenever anyone interacts with us, with me, they have an experience they'll never forget, and it's unmistakable, and they have healing. Yeah. And so so I was like, well, how do you people come into the group sometimes and they want to learn how do you do this, Ralph? We have lots of healers, we have lots of people that want mystical ways of healing and getting stuff in life. So how do you teach it? So I thought, well, peace process is one way. It's like and then it became this 4-question thing that then became like a 2-question thing. So we'll do it as a 2-question thing. We'll do it as a matrix analytics 2 point, and we can all just do this together. And your mind might be going, oh, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? How do we do this? It's like I get it. That's how I am too. But let's just do this together. We're gonna do 2 things. One is to just I'll say it the way Richard Bartlett used to say it, is to notice what you notice. So let's go like this. Notice what you notice with your eyes. So there's stuff that you see. And then there's the space around the stuff that you see. Like I'm looking at trees and there's space around the trees. So what do you see? Notice what you notice. What do you hear? And there's silence or space around the sounds. So we're noticing what we hear. What do you feel? That's the peace process. Like what's happening in your body. Yeah, and there's inner space inside your body. Are there any tastes? Do you taste anything? Do you smell anything? Notice what you notice. Are there any thoughts? Yeah, so the first part of the 2 point is notice what you notice. The second part of the 2 point is that age-old question, who is noticing? Like somebody, something, you're noticing, who is noticing? Like who are you? So we turn it into a all day long continuous sort of thing, just get a new habit of having some attention on what are you noticing? And who is noticing? Yeah, just do it all day long. What are you noticing? Who is noticing? Yeah, who are you? Yeah, so there's all that, and then there's I was talking to Katie McIntyre. She's I can always talk about her. So she is one of my clients, and we both agree that all these people that talk about at least that's my experience. I'd like to hear your experiences too. These people that talk about mystical and spiritual and infinite, instant miracle ways of healing, they work their butts off. They sure the heck don't just sit on their butts. Whoa. And so there's this like guidance thing, I think. This is the way I look at it. I'm open to suggestions. I'm continuing to figure this out, learning about stuff. It's like how to be guided and then do the thing, do the guidance and focus on what'll get you there. You know, if we're scrolling on our phone all day long, if we're always just doing stuff that's not part of what you really want, it's like, okay, but that seems to be the key. So do the matrix analytics 2 point again. Notice what you notice, and who is noticing. Ooh, wait. Okay, so now let's do some one-on-one healing, and let's do it in this way. I feel. Let's do it in this way. Yeah, we'll do it just like we'll do it like this. Yeah, you could unmute, and then we'll work one-on-one, and whenever I'm working on somebody, everybody else is working on themselves. It's all together, and you just follow the words, and we're going to be very precise. We'll poke the bear and see like, okay, what's going on, and what do you want, and where's the problem with not like just enough to like poke the bear to see like where's the in this thing, and then we'll go right to work. And holy cow, this is I love the reason I love this group is the it just feels really good. So yeah, those days were fun, Mira and Leslie. They were fun. Yeah, I was talking to McIntyre again a few weeks ago, and I was saying, yeah, most of the people that find me seem to have the words matrix genetics. They want that, and they're interested in that. And so she pulled up YouTube and the analytics, the research, and she searched like who's searching for the words matrix genetics. And back around 2007, 8, 9, it was like a lot of people searching for it, and then it just tailed off, and then it was like gone. And it's like hardly anybody searching for it, but they all seem to be finding me, which is good. But she goes, yeah. Katie said, I bet you he was doing a lot of work in 2007, 2008, 2009, and he was. He had a PR person, Lisa Dubell, I think, who was his PR and marketing person. He was on a weekly, if not more often, show that went out around the world. He was in every little magazine in those the bookstores and the food co-ops and stuff. The back page was a whole ad. Like he was holding seminars, every week around the world. He was working really, 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 really hard. And so and then he didn't. And so, I think that's the missing piece a lot of times in the spiritual world. It's like just give me the lotto ticket. It's like good luck. So let's go to I'm going to start across the board here who has their hands up. We'll go Kajal and then Mira and then Kati, and raise your hands as we go, and love to hear what you guys think and how this felt. Okay, Kajal, let's do some good.